Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This channel is on a steep and steady decline, but I refuse to give up. So that's why I am here back so soon, so much sooner than I would be, to bring you a new video. And this video is going to be for all of you seniors who are starting your senior year of high school and are getting ready to apply for college. And this is just basically a checklist of everything you need to do from now until your application deadlines. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, the number one thing you guys should focus on right now is making sure that you have your rec letters if you don't already, asking your recommenders, because some of them will get filled up really quickly. They might not be able to write letters for you. They might have so many people asking them depending on what school you go to and what the dynamics are with that. So you want to ask as soon as possible, especially if you're applying on November 1st for early action day. I believe I didn't ask my recommenders until October, but I was one of the last people in my school to ask. And so it's always better to get that out of the way early. And also, I think it looks better on you, to the people you're asking to write your recommendation letters, if you're giving them the courtesy of giving them a month or two to be able to do that, especially since they probably have other kids that they're also writing letters for. So number 2 is to just go through the common application if you're using the common application. And start filling out all of that extra information, because I remember when I applied to college, there were so many parts to the Common App that took so much longer than I thought they would, just in terms of like listing like your background and all the schools you've been to and where you come from and like your parents' information and all of that. And that can take a while, and they do ask questions that you might need to ask other people the answers to. For example, they asked a question on the Common App, I believe, or at least they did when I applied, about how many people attend your school. That might not be a number that you have off the top of your head, and so that's something that you'll need to figure out. And so just make sure to not wait until right before your application deadline to start going through the Common App and filling out those things that we kind of pass off as just being like, oh, I can do that really quickly. It's just like my general information about myself and where I grew up. It can take some time. Number 3 is the Common App essay. If you haven't started your Common App essay yet and you're applying on November 1st, I would strongly recommend that you start it now, just because one of the best tips for the Common App essay is really just to be able to give yourself the time to potentially write multiple versions or send it to multiple people to be able to look over and edit. I had so many different iterations of my Common App essay. Most people I know did the same. And you're really going to need time to think about what kind of narrative you want to push forward in your common application essay, and how it's going to fit along with all the other things that you're writing in your application. And so really give yourself the time to do that, and definitely send it to people. Send it to your teachers, send it to your English teacher or whatever teacher you have that you trust. If you have a guidance counselor, you can maybe send it to them, send it to people in your family if you have that, just to make sure that you're getting as many eyes on that essay as possible. Also, just a little fun fact, I do edit Common App essays. I've edited probably like 15 to 20 essays at this point, so if you want another person to edit your essay, I'd be happy to. I have a little form that I use. I'll put it in the description. Okay, and this might be straightforward, but the next thing is just going to be to start thinking about your supplementals. I think one of the biggest mistakes I made in the college application process is to not start my supplemental essays early. And I think I sort of thought that my Common App and my resume and everything else would sort of speak for itself. But the supplementals are so important, because at the end of the day, people who are reading your application are going to probably find like hundreds of other students, or at least tens of other students, who have done things of the same caliber that you've done in terms of your extracurriculars, that have the same kind of grades, the same kind of test scores. And so your essays are the way that you stand out. And so you really want to make sure that you start those early enough to the point where you can really bring your best self forward through those, and really try to be creative with them if you can, or just try to do the best that you can with them, because I think in my experience, I waited to the last minute to start my supplementals, and they were good essays. They were solid essays. I answered the question. I did what I was supposed to do, but I didn't really have the time to really think about how to make those essays unique and how to stand out. And that's something that I definitely wish I could have done. And so if you have the time to start right now, definitely start right now. Start as soon as you can. And I think that'll help you out a lot. The next thing is to check how the schools you're applying to want you to send in your test scores. I remember when I was applying to college, the vast majority of schools just wanted me to self-report. So I self-reported my SAT score, and then they would only like require an official report if I were to be admitted. But make sure that that's the case, because it isn't always. And definitely go through each school and see what they require. See if they take a super score or if they want all your scores, because all of those things are definitely going to be important when you're thinking about college applications. Kind of along the same lines of like checking what each school's specific requirements are. I remember when I was applying, I created a Google Doc with what each school required in terms of recommendations. And so if they like allowed like 4 versus 3 or 2, or if they didn't want any recommenders, or if they like required 1 from a specific class, or things like that. Each school has such varying requirements on those things, and that's something I didn't realize until pretty late in the process, and it kind of stressed me out. So I would definitely look at that beforehand too, and again, maybe just create a doc or a spreadsheet for yourself to kind of keep track of all of that. At the end of the day, it's gonna work out. Like if you have, you know, a couple of people who will write a recommendation letter for you, then that's fine. And I'm sure that will suffice for most of your schools. But if you are looking to, you know, maybe add an additional recommender or an additional recommender, you know, 3, 4, however many you're looking to recommend, make sure that you check each school's specific rules on what's allowed and not. Also, just a little side note, it's really okay if you don't have your college list finalized yet. Definitely like start to do that around now, but if it's not totally finalized, that's completely okay. It's really easy to add schools to the Common App. You just look up the school and you search it, and then, you know, you add your school. Of course, if it helps if you do it beforehand, if you have your list finalized beforehand, especially if you're applying a lot of schools, because then you can start your essays beforehand and start preparing. But if you don't, that's okay. I went into my senior year without my college list finalized. I think most people were still making changes into September, October, so it's totally okay. And I just want to say that. Okay, the last thing is going to be a little cheesy, but it's just to take a deep breath and relax. I had so many people tell me that like college application season is the most stressful season, and it's just like so bad and so miserable. In my personal experience, applying to college was probably the easiest part of high school for me. It wasn't easy, but like it was the least stressful part, just because all of the time I like spent trying to build up my resume and get really good grades and study for the SAT and all of that had already passed. I was all done with that, and it was just about, you know, showing that in my applications and bringing, you know, my best foot forward. So at this point, you've done what you need to do, and you just need to put it all together and show everybody else what you did. So don't worry too much, don't stress too much. It's all gonna work out the way it's supposed to. And I wish you the best of luck in this college application season. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I've helped a lot of people apply to college and with things relating to that, so let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!